We've all softened a warning because the person in charge sounded certain. On March 27, 1977, that instinct entered the cockpit of KLM Flight 4805 at Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife. The plane was already moving down the runway. The engines were building power. Fog covered the airport. Somewhere ahead, Pan Am Flight 1736 was still on the same runway. Inside the KLM cockpit, the flight engineer heard something that didn't fit. He asked if the Pan Am plane was clear. The captain answered with confidence. No one stopped the takeoff. Seconds later, two Boeing 747s collided. 583 people died. And the hardest part is this: the danger wasn't completely missed, it was almost spoken clearly enough. Those two planes were never supposed to be there. Both were headed for Gran Canaria. Then a bomb exploded in the terminal, and a second bomb threat forced the airport to close. Flights were diverted to Los Rodeos, a smaller airport on Tenerife. Suddenly, the ground was crowded with aircraft that didn't belong there. The normal taxiway was blocked. To move planes around, controllers had to use the active runway as a taxi route. That sounds like a delay. Annoying, messy, but manageable. But delays change people. They add pressure. They make everyone want the next step to happen faster. KLM refueled. Pan Am waited. The weather got worse. Low clouds moved across the field, and visibility dropped. The control tower could no longer clearly see the planes on the runway. So the whole system started depending on words, radio calls, short instructions, assumptions, repeated phrases. And in a place where nobody could see clearly, one unclear sentence could become deadly. The KLM plane was told to taxi down the runway, turn around at the end, and wait. Pan Am was told to follow, then leave the runway through the third exit on the left. But in the fog, that instruction wasn't simple. The crew had to identify the right turn while moving a huge aircraft through poor visibility. This is how danger often builds, not with one insane decision, with small pieces that all seem explainable. A crowded airport, a blocked taxiway, a refueling delay, a runway used for taxiing, a crew trying to find the correct exit in fog. Then KLM reached the end of the runway and turned around. The first officer received an air traffic clearance, but that was not the same as permission to take off. That difference mattered. A route clearance tells you where you're allowed to go after departure. A takeoff clearance tells you that you're allowed to start rolling now. But in the cockpit, the line blurred. KLM began to move. The brakes were released. The engines pushed forward. At almost the same time, the tower told KLM to stand by for takeoff clearance. Pan Am also radioed that it was still on the runway. Those two transmissions overlapped. In the KLM cockpit, part of the warning became noise. And before you decide this could only happen in aviation, think about a smaller version. A manager says, "It's fine." A parent says, "Trust me." A senior person sounds certain. And suddenly, the thing you were about to say becomes softer. Back in the cockpit, the flight engineer still called the danger. He asked whether Pan Am was clear. The captain said yes. And that answer ended the conversation. This is the part that changes the story. The flight engineer didn't simply stay silent. He asked the right question. But a question is not always a stop. In aviation, people later talked about something called an authority gradient. In plain English, it means the distance between the person with power and the people expected to challenge that person. If that distance is healthy, a junior crew member can say, "Stop, this is unsafe." If it's too steep, they may only hint. They may ask gently. They may wait for the senior person to notice the same problem. Captain Jacob Veldhuizen van Zanten wasn't just another pilot. He was highly experienced and respected inside KLM. That matters. Because when someone like that sounds certain, the room can start doubting its own doubt. That's the frightening lesson here. The danger is not always silence. Sometimes it's a warning said too softly. Tenerife wasn't caused by authority alone. There was fog, radio confusion, airport congestion, timing, and human error. But authority shaped the final seconds. A man noticed the danger. He just didn't stop the captain. Most of us will never sit in a cockpit with hundreds of lives behind us, but the mechanism is familiar. A boss approves a plan, and someone on the team sees the risk. A family elder makes a decision, and everyone else feels the tension. A partner sounds so sure that you start asking yourself whether your concern is even valid. This doesn't mean every disagreement should become a fight. It means there are moments when a soft question isn't enough. Are we sure? is not the same as stop, I think this is dangerous. Tenerife forces a hard question because the scale was so terrible, but the pattern is ordinary. When someone above you is moving forward and you can see the risk, do you say it clearly enough? Or do you hope they understand the hint?